Dungeon Thrasher Lenny Blade, and this is the Dungeons and Thrashers show. About 2 weeks ago, my man Roman Dacil uploaded a really intriguing video. It was really inspirational. He has a YouTube channel. He focuses more on MERP, or only on MERP, Middle-earth roleplay from AiAiME, we do have sort of common ground, obviously, in Middle-earth, and I find his videos interesting. And he did this video where he connected a lot of the maps from the different supplements of MERP into like a huge map. So I thought I'm gonna do the same thing. So I had actually planned on taking a look at the Lore Master screen and the Eves of Mirkwood, the beginner adventure of Adventures in Middle-earth. But instead, I decided to forego that, and instead I'm gonna take a look at The Road Goes Ever On. This is a map pack and a journey supplement as well. So it's so much more than just a map pack. So there are 4 maps, poster-sized maps in here, but this is a treasure. I'm telling you, this is 33 pages of the most useful content you'll ever see for Adventures in Middle-earth, for role-playing in Middle-earth, period. And we're gonna take a look, so don't miss it.
Alright, we will start with the supplements here, and later on we will take a look at the 4 poster-sized Middle-earth maps that come with this expansion, this module, I should say. So, this supplement is all about the journey, traveling, encounters, and it's very closely related to the journey events from the player's guide, the random journey events, and all of these have been expanded upon with more options and more fluff, more flair, all of that good stuff. So there are more random events here to choose from, and there are tables. You can roll for what time of day the encounter happens or the event happens, what's the weather like, things like that. If you're encountering NPCs, you can roll for the culture. There are motivation charts. Why are they on the road? Are they trappers? Are they just travelers? Or that kind of stuff. Are they hunters? Are they a military force? And for the Bones of the Earth event, there is a really useful random ruin generator. So you can roll for the origin and the purpose. What was the ruin before it was a ruin? Was it a library, some sort of fort maybe? And then the present state or the present appearance of the ruin. So is it overgrown? Is it completely dilapidated? Is it sunken? So that is pretty cool. And even though I said that it's closely related to the events in the player's guide, you can absolutely use all of these random charts without even having the player's book. So you could use these things just for your regular D&D 5th edition game. That would work perfectly as well. There are also group encounters, so they provide spider colonies, orc warbands, like troll families that you can just drop into your game. And if you feel, and there's a lot of background even and fluff about these group encounters, and also if you feel like your party is a little bit too strong, then you can always roll on the random strength table, and you can add some strengths to that group. Or if you feel like your you know, is the characters maybe wounded or exhausted or something like that, or they're just not up to the challenge, and you can always roll on the random weakness chart to add a weakness to the group of monsters. And there are also 2 battle maps included, and these are campsite battle maps. So these are pretty cool. And so what I do with these battle maps, and also the ones that are included in the modules and in the adventures, I print them out and I laminate them, and I use them that way. Works very well. There's also rules for awarding experience points for avoiding combat. This is a rule that I use. So there are 4 steps. They've put it into steps here. So the first step is to instigate the encounter. The second step is to spot the enemy early on, obviously, and then the third step is the company reaction. What are they going to do? Are they going to flee, or are they going to fight, or are they going to try to ambush, or are they trying to outsmart the enemies? And then the fourth step is, of course, the enemy draws near. And so that means that all the PCs have to do a stealth or survival check. And the scout and the hunter do their checks first, and then if both are successful, the rest of the party have advantage on these rolls, and if both are unsuccessful, the rest of the party suffer a disadvantage on those rolls. And if they're compromised, like if they're trying to hide, for example, but they're compromised, there is one last chance of escape. But this is not evasion, this is just like headlong, running for their lives, basically. So they have to do athletics check. Each PC has to do an athletics check against one roll made by the most proficient enemy, the most proficient in athletics. And if all PCs make the check, then obviously, they run away, they get no XP. But if even one PC fails, then it's time to roll for initiative, because there's a combat coming, and the PCs that didn't fail, the ones that made it, they have to double back to help their friends, so they suffer a disadvantage on that initial roll for that combat. So some pretty cool rules here. There's also the last part here is really cool. It calls Dooms of Departure and Oaths of Return. So a PC can declare a doom of departure when leaving a sanctuary, like never again will I set foot in that woodland hall or woodland hell or something like that. And so it counts as a fellowship undertaking, and the PC gets an experience points award immedately. But if you betray this charge, like if you go back to that sanctuary that you swore never to return to, then you suffer shadow points. So, and the amount of shadow points is your proficiency bonus +1. So the more experienced your character is, the more, the worse it is to betray this. This doom of departure. You can also do an oath of return. And what that means is that now there are 2 PCs involved. So there's one swearer, I guess, one swearer of oath, and one witness to the oath. So you can swear to someone like, yeah, I will come back here with you someday, and you will get so the XP bonus will go to 2 player characters. And so one example from the books is, for example, the Glittering Caves. If you remember from the Lord of the Rings, then Legolas says something to the effect of like, yeah, I'd like to come back here with you, Gimli, one day, and we'll explore the caves together and the beauty and blah blah blah. And then, so in game terms, so when that happened, then when they came back, then Legolas and Gimli would have been awarded experience points for that. So it's a pretty cool system. There's also one, I should mention, there's one chapter on that's called The Wonders of Middle-earth, which has 10 scenic vistas that are described in detail, just to make Middle-earth come alive. And there's also one called Lodgings Along the Road, and that has some optional rules for long rests during journeys that I obviously don't use. But all in all, it's a very good supplement, and worth buying whether you're a player of Adventures in Middle-earth or just regular D&D. Alright, and we have finally come to the map section, so I'm gonna lay all the 4 big poster-sized Middle-earth maps here on my spanking new bed here. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of a glare here, so I apologize for that, but so what I just put down there was the Wilderlands map, and it goes, as you may imagine, from slightly west of the Misty Mountains to Rune in the east. Though the Rune area, don't expect any big detail there. Here is the Eriador map, which is basically anything between the Blue Mountains and the Misty Mountains. And then you've got the mountains of Angmar in the north, and so on. And the next map we will take a look at here is the Rohan and Gondor map, and and that's the most detailed map so far. So you've got all the distances, you have like the mountains, lakes, rivers, all the settlements are detailed. So it's all very cool, and it's the most detailed map of these maps that are here. You got everything you would expect, you know, Fangorn Forest, Isengard, the Westfold area, you know, including Helm's Deep and so on, Minas Tirith, Minas Morgul, Osgiliath, and you can see sort of Mordor looming there to the east. And yeah, these maps work pretty well together, as you can see when you lay them out like this. But they're, apart from, you know, that they have those frames around them that make them a little bit bulky to put together like this. So I would recommend you to go and watch Roman Dacil's video where he connected a lot of the MERP maps from Iron Crown Enterprises from the adventures and modules for MERP. So go and check out his video. I'll put a link in the description below. That was a much more of a feat. This is just putting 4 maps together much easier. So here we've got the Mordor map, and as you can see, this is a pretty interesting map. It's got the Far Harad, Near Harad as well. But again, don't expect too much detail here. It's just, you know, it's good for measuring distance and geographic location, but in terms of adventure and detail, then no, you won't find much of that here, at least not for the Harad and the Rune areas and sort of those outlying areas. And here it is in all its glory. So yeah, we've got Mordor here jumping over to the Rohan and Gondor area here, going up north into Eriador, and we've got the White Mountains there, and then you know, we got everything between the Blue Mountains and the Misty Mountains. So we got, you know, the Shire, the Barrow Downs, Bree, all of that good stuff, Rivendell, Lothlorien, all of that stuff. And then you pass over the Misty Mountains and you've got the Land of the Bjornings and the Woodmen, and then you've got the obviously Mirkwood and Thranduil's halls, things like that. And we go all the way to Lake Town, Dale, Lonely Mountain, and then the Iron Hills and Rune in the east, and go down there to Dol Guldur, and that's pretty much it. Here is what the Lore Master side of the map looks like. So here you've got obviously a color coding here to represent the terrain. Is it easy, medium, or hard terrain, or is it impossible? And then you've also got the distance meter there, and you've got a rune coding system, you know, how corrupted by the shadow this particular area is. So is it Shadowlands proper, or is it Freelands, or is it somewhere in between? You've got rune coding for that. So there's a lot of more information going on here in the Lore Masters side of the maps. But anyways, that's my overview of the journey supplement. The road goes ever on. See ya.